Okay, I'm Jim Lloyd, whose PhD is an infectious disease epidemiologist who studies the links between psychoactive drugs and HIV/AIDS. A research scientist of the BC Centre for Excellence in HIV/AIDS, he is the principal investigator of the access study of people living with HIV/AIDS who use drugs. He led the first research to show a link between daily use of cannabis and lower levels of virus in the bloodstream. An author of more than 65 articles in medical journals, including CMAJ, AIDS, and The Lancet, his work has been supported by the Canadian Institute of Health Research, the Michael Smith Foundation for Health Research, and the United States National Institute of Health. He's an assistant professor of medicine in the Division of AIDS at the University of British Columbia. Please help me welcome MJ.
Thank you, Sal, for the introduction. I apologize, no one should have to see my head that big early on Sunday morning. It's wonderful to be here. I am also a part of the big AIDS conference that is in town, about 6,000 to 7,000 researchers and scientists. Sorry, I'm completely illiterate when it comes to thank you. And I can guarantee that none of the crowds that we'll see over the next couple of days at the AIDS conference will be as friendly and committed and passionate, I think, around cannabis as I felt this morning. It's a wonderful chance to come and be able to talk briefly about the research that has been done around HIV and cannabis, and hopefully the research that we'll do in the next couple of years. I should start with a bit of a disclosure. I'm a relative newcomer to the world of cannabis, HIV, and medicine. I was trained, as someone said, at UBC in HIV. And my research experience and my research work is with people who are living with HIV and who use drugs. In our definition, these drugs include heroin and cocaine, mainly folks from the downtown east side. So I've recently, in the last year or so, come into more of the cannabis and marijuana world, but my expertise and my experience certainly pales in comparison to many of you in the audience, and I should apologize to Emily and Philippe for contaminating the panel with such a poorly educated individual. What I'd like to do today is talk a bit about HIV and cannabis, what we know, what we think we know, and what we'd like to find out. What we do know is that marijuana is one of the most commonly used psychoactive substances for people who are living with HIV. And it's not only used recreationally, but it's also used importantly medicinally, and in particular to mitigate the adverse effects of the HIV medications they may be taking to keep themselves alive. There's been a number of studies, showing the large prevalence of marijuana use among people living with HIV. This is probably the largest study involving women who are living with HIV, and it showed that about 15 to 20% of the women report using marijuana at any point during their disease course. And while this prevalence has gone down over time among the people who are using cannabis, more and more people report that they're using cannabis every day. And why are they using it? The most popular responses involved around addressing the stress and the pain that are a part of their condition. For people who are on antiretroviral therapy, those are the drugs that keep people living with HIV alive. Increased appetite is also an important reason for using marijuana. And also, of course, to address the nausea which may be associated with the condition. So we know that people who are living with HIV and AIDS use marijuana, use cannabis to cope with the disease and with the treatment. But the really exciting work, I think, which I'll talk to you today, is around what about the possible effect of cannabis on the infection itself and on the virus itself. This is the one slide of science that I will bore you with. All of you need to know about HIV to understand what I'll talk to you about next. Many of you, of course, will already know this. But AIDS, of course, is a disease of the immune system, which is caused by infection with the virus HIV. There is no cure for HIV, despite 30 years of trying. And so the medications that we have now, the gold standard medications, developed, of course, in British Columbia, what they seek to do is stop the virus from replicating, from reproducing, and lowering the amount of virus in the bloodstream. How much virus you have in your blood is pretty well the most important clinical indicator of where your disease will go. And if you're on on treatment and you have no virus in your bloodstream, that your disease is essentially been put into remission and you cannot pass the virus along to others. Properly treated, people who are living with HIV can now expect to live life expectancies almost up to expectancies of those who are not living with HIV, and this has been one of the sort of signal medical accomplishments of the last 30 years. However, what about the effect of cannabis on HIV? The medications that we have now, antiretroviral therapies, are very complex pharmaceutical molecules which interfere with how the virus replicates in the bloodstream. However, we have some new research to suggest that cannabis may also play a role in affecting the immune system and affecting the virus itself. This was an experiment done by colleagues down in Louisiana, and what they did was they took 16 monkeys and they randomly started 8 monkeys on daily injections of THC and the other 8 monkeys on placebo. So this is a standard way of looking at the possible effect of a drug on an organism or a system. Then what they did is they took the 16 monkeys and they infected them with SIV, simian immunodeficiency virus. This is a very close relative of HIV. HIV, of course, came from monkeys originally. And SIV and these sorts of monkeys, rhesus macaques, are commonly used in the research world to try and figure out how HIV works. What happened? Well, Patricia Molina, the scientist who did the study, said to me, she said, look, we expected those monkeys that we had put on to THC to do worse than the monkeys that were not on THC. She's previously studied the effects of alcohol and other sorts of psychoactive drugs, and in all cases, the monkeys that were on the drugs did worse than the monkeys who were not. What happened? The monkeys on THC had less virus in their blood. The monkeys on THC had less inflammatory response to HIV, which is an important point I'll get to in a second. The monkeys also had much longer survival. Monkeys typically die after a year after being infected with SIV. These monkeys survived for 2 years, and in fact, they were still living when they were killed and necropsied to assess their disease state. So this was shocking research. Patricia said to me, she's like, she never expected to see this effect of THC on monkeys. So monkeys are great, but of course we're interested in humans and the effect of humans on HIV on humans. So what we did up here in Vancouver is we said, well, can we replicate Patricia's study with monkeys up here in humans? Obviously, we can't experiment on humans in the sense the same way that they did on monkeys. So what we did is we looked at some of the research that we've already done among people living with HIV to see if we could see the same sort of thing happen. I run a study of over 1,000 people living in the downtown east side who are living with HIV, and for a small proportion of these individuals, 88 of them, we have records on them from both before and after they were infected with HIV. So what we did is we pulled their medical records, and we compared the ones that reported that they were smoking marijuana at least daily to the ones who reported they were smoking less often or not at all. What did we find? Just like in the monkey study, we found that the ones who were smoking marijuana daily during the period of their infection had much lower viral loads. Like Patricia, I was stunned when I ran the numbers and found the result. It was certainly not anything that we expected to see in our patient population. They had a lower level of HIV, and this is, for the scientists in the room, or for those of you who have had to slog through medical research, the first thing you should say, well, MJ, this is an observational study, this is an experimental study, so maybe something else is going on, maybe it's not the THC, maybe it's some other condition associated with THC. We did do a statistical model, and we still found that those individuals who were smoking marijuana at least every day had lower viral loads compared to those who didn't. So who cares? We are fortunate that over the last 30 years, we have developed very good treatments for HIV that have saved or extended the lives of millions of people around the world. Marijuana will not replace these drugs anytime soon, nor do I think any of us would want to move back to the era in which we did not have good treatments for HIV. What is exciting about this research, though, to my mind, is the glimpse it might give us of the possible role of cannabinoids on viral infections themselves. We think what's happening here is not a THC-driven pathway, it's a CBD-driven pathway through the CB2 pathway in the human body. which, as you know, is primarily expressed on disease on cells within the intestinal system. This is important because HIV, we're increasingly realizing, is a disease of the intestinal system. So we're thinking that maybe what is happening is that the CBD is modulating the immune response. Maybe, in fact, it's killing off the HIV itself. But either way, this is a very exciting insight to the possible role that cannabinoids might play in viral infections. It's important, of course, to understand that one of the ways, the primary ways that viruses hurt us is not through the virus itself, but through the body's reaction to the virus. The inflammation that our bodies mount as a response to the virus. And what we're seeing here possibly is that THC and CBD may have a role in modulating that response, and so they may play a role moving forward in helping us to suffer less from viruses and from the inflammation that cause. So this is exciting research, I think. It is research that we hope to move forward in the next number of years. We are fortunate at UBC that our research has attracted a gift from NG Biomed, who are seeking to become licensed producers of medical cannabis. So I'm hoping that as this conference moves forward in the years ahead, I'll be able to come back to you and show just the kind of research that we've done and the evidence base that we've been able to build around cannabinoids, HIV, and other viruses. Thank you very much.